Now, the second problem is something we call the scoping paradox, and this one has made us feel like giving up, moving to Tibet, and becoming a monk. Here's the paradox. To give an accurate quote and timeline for a custom automation project, you need to spend some time up front. You need to audit their processes, map out their workflows, understand their systems, figure out the integrations. Sometimes it can take up to 8 hours just to scope properly. But here's the problem. If you spend all that time and don't close the deal, you just wasted 8 hours. But if you don't spend enough time scoping, you're going to run into scope creep, unexpected complications, and end up doing way more work than what you quoted for. We had a client where we quoted $3,000 for what we thought was a simple CRM automation and scheduling system, but it turns out that their sales process was broken, the software that they were using had the worst API ever, and at the end of the day, they didn't even know how to do sales. So this project turned from what we thought was going to be 25 hours into 100 hours and should have been quoted for $15,000. At the end of the day, we had to eat the difference because that's what we quoted. We didn't scope properly enough. First, you need to standardize your pre-audit process. I have a specific checklist and set of questions I go through with every single prospect. It takes around 45 minutes and it covers most of the potential gotchas. If you want to access it, you can join our community where we drop resources that we actually use ourselves. It's down below. You can join for free. But the second thing you can do is add a 15 to 20% buffer for scope creep and unexpected complications, because trust me, there's always unexpected complications. And third, this is crucial, get really good at qualifying prospects before you invest time in scoping. What we do is this: when a discovery call gets booked, I check the information they provide. If they're not a good fit, I straight up cancel the call. On the first call, I go through our discovery framework to see what their pain points are and if they're even ready for automation and whether they have the budget. By the way, if you do mistake number 3 that I'll talk about later, you've already lost them at this point. But if they are qualified and ready, we go into what I call a pre-audit. We ask for view-only access to their softwares, gather operational documentation like org charts and SOPs to do an assessment. Then we do the assessment and scoping, and I never try to spend more than 4 hours scoping. I also have some Claude projects to help me out with this. Finally, we do a proposal call where we go over the results and the solution we could build. Sometimes we need another call, sometimes not. But like I already mentioned, most automation agencies have already blown the sale by this point.